My name is Wynnie Lamour, Kwanzaa, and I am the Kreyòl instructor at the Center for Latin American and Caribbean Studies at NYU. I also teach Kreyòl as part of a larger initiative called the Indigenous and Diasporic Language Consortium, which is a collaboration between 3 New York City area universities, NYU, Columbia, and the Center for Mexican Studies at Lehman CUNY, which is the City University of New York. All of that to say that we focus on teaching less commonly taught languages, or as I like to consider Kreyòl, a historically undervalued language when you take into account that language's socio-political history. So I'm also the founder of the Haitian Kreyòl Language Institute of New York. And part of the work that I do, both at CLACS, at HCLI, is to create spaces where we can have really great dynamic conversations en anglais et puis en créole. Côté nous faire connaissance avec moun qui a fait beaucoup de chaîne travail dans la communauté. And I'm really excited to have you join us for the 3rd installment of the Sanit Bèlè Women's Empowerment Series, which we've been hosting for the entire month of March to honor the work of some amazing Haitian women who are walking in the spirit and in the footsteps of Sanit Bèlè. For those of you who don't know, Sanit Bèlè, for those of you who don't know, Sanit Bèlè was a lieutenant in the Haitian army during the Haitian Revolution, and she was no joke. So when she was captured by the French and the French were about to kill her, she was like, y'all might kill my physical body, but I'm actually about to live forever because the work that I'm doing, it supersedes my physical self. And she was right, because here we are over 200 years later, still talking about her spirit. So, aswea nou gen avec nous. Y'all, I'm so nervous though, I'm not gonna lie. Aswea nou gen avec nous Talie, who is an amazing songstress, artist, honestly, revolutionary woman, blogger, educator, community worker. Li fait tout bagay qui important pour nous comme Haïtiens. Et puis, nous allons commencer à faire un petit parler avec Talie. Talie, qui j'en y, mes amis? How are you?
I'm excited to be here. I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited to do this. And I've, everyone I can come across, I'm like, go take a Kreyòl lesson. Go learn Kreyòl. I'm always sending people the links to your classes because moi tellement admire le travail wap fè pour Kreyòl, pour communauté nous, pour aider nous préserver héritage nous pendant que nous dans diaspora. I think that's really, really important work.
Yes.
In terms of Sanit Bèlè, that makes me a little nervous because I don't know if it's possible to walk in the footsteps of Sanit Bèlè from my opinion. But that's a philosophical.
No problem. Est-ce que vous dites qui est-ce? Who are you? Can you tell us a little bit? If someone were to ask me, qui est-ce qui Talie Serin? Qui j'en ta répondre?
Son grande question qui gagne pile réponse. Moi-même, son haïtien qui vit aux États-Unis depuis un pile temps. Je fais plus fort enfance en Haïti et en Philadelphie. So I've been back and forth between Philly and Haiti most of my life. And I've probably been in Philly. I've been in Philly more in my life than Haiti, but I think I've spent like the more important formative years in Haiti. And so a lot of me was shaped there. But that informs all the work that I do. So I'm a singer-songwriter. I play guitar, I write songs, I sing songs a lot, mostly in Kreyòl. I am the editor of an online magazine called Way Magazine. It's a Haitian platform for people in Haiti and people in the diaspora to engage and learn and discuss all things about Haiti and Haitian history and Haitian culture and Haitian art and Haitian politics. And everything is available in Kreyòl and English. Parce que nous voulons former un pont, pour nous parce qu'il y a une réconciliation qui doit être faite entre moun qui en Haïti et puis moun qui en diaspora, ici en Haïti, un gros travail de guérison qui besoin fait. Parce que je pense que avec immigration sont gros. I always say like immigration is a trauma, and we lose a lot. You know, like when we flee to here, it's because we were fleeing something from home, you know, and we come here to take on new traumas. You know, it's like we're like, I'm going to leave these dangers to come and accept these dangers, and something gets disconnected from what the people are at home, the people who are here. And I've always just seen that there's just this huge reconciliation work that needs to happen so that we can be in community with each other, so that we can be in solidarity with each other. And that's what informs all of the work that I do.
Yeah, c'est ça, moi. Depuis première fois, pas sûr j'ai première fois nous rencontrer, but I feel like we had this really long, magical conversation in like a garden at Brooklyn Museum or something like that. I feel like I have a memory of that. Et il me songe, premier bagay moi te remarqué was your accent, because I was like, oh, Talie's accent Creole, elle parle Creole, il parle bon Jean Creole. It's like you can't even tell. You can't even tell. Il était voyagé aux États-Unis avec Haïti. Moi, t'as me demandé, est-ce que vous considérez tout comme diaspora, ou bien deuxième partie de la question, c'est qui ça vous pensez de thème ça, diaspora? Est-ce que son thème ou accepté peut-être pas, ou bien est-ce que vous pensez de gain comme si ont l'idée négative qui est associée avec?
No, diaspora is a good word. It's not negative or positive. It's a word that, you know, it describes what our situation is. Diaspora is just a scattering of a people, right? Now, at the root of it, scattering implies a violent situation that requires a scattering, right? So I myself am a diaspora because of all the reasons that makes anyone become a diaspora, because conditions at home aren't good, because there are things at home that make it so that, you know, young people who are looking to have a certain kind of life, a certain quality of life, extra difficult at home. And so our parents, our elders decided, let's take chances over here. Right. And the sad thing is you take chances over here in the United States, and the United States is at the roots of a lot of what made conditions at home impossible for us. Right. So we come and we run away to the people who made the resources unavailable to us, who upended all our political situations, who've been wreaking havoc in all of our affairs since 1805, since 1804, you know, and we come seek refuge here. So diaspora isn't a good or negative term. It is what it is. It is what we are. I embrace it because I didn't embrace it at first, because I consider myself a different type of diaspora, because I have a lot of very deep roots in Haiti. I have significant memories in Haiti. I have significant parts of me that were formed in Haiti. And, you know, my parents are still there, and I still try to go back as often as I can. But the fact is I'm a diaspora, you know. We're trying to have this conversation in Creole, and I always have to switch back to English because there are certain heavy topics that I'm like, I gotta get into this in English, y'all. Like, you know, even though my Creole is pretty solid, you know. My parents are lovers of Creole. It was very important to us that we spoke Creole more so than French, and I'm really proud of my Creole, and it's something I'm very intentional about preserving. It's something I'm intentional about making my art in. So yeah. I do like the word diaspora.
You know, I spent a long time having to unlearn some of the negativity around the word diaspora. Parce que chaque fois mal visité Haïti, it was always like, oh, got diaspora ça qui retourne. And I was always like, damn. And puis, of course, then there's the other layer of like, oh, blanc parler, quitter le parler. And I'm like, oh man, like the way I was embracing my blackness, I was like, I'm not making Haiti qui la caille, comprendre, Haiti chérie, tout ça. And then I get to Haiti, it's like, oh, got diaspora blanc ça capé par les Creoles. And I was like, man,
you know, I have an unpopular opinion about that. I don't think we should be mad about that. Because,
yeah.
I know a lot of people who are offended by when they go home and people call them blanc, people call them diaspora. And I think the reality is that we left. We left and we became different people, and we formed new cultures. Like, sure, like it's Haiti is at the base of it, but diaspora culture is different than Haitian and Haiti culture. And we were afforded opportunities our cousins in Haiti don't have, and we are exposed to things our cousins in Haiti don't. And we are, blanc doesn't literally mean white, you know, in Creole. Creole is a very poetic language. Every word has a million meanings. Blanc literally just means a stranger. And the fact is that all of us, when we leave Haiti, we become strangers, and we have to make a concerted effort to remain Haitian, to preserve parts of our heritage. And we just, you know, they come, they say your langue is Lou, they say that you're a diaspora, they say you're blanc, and you're like, yeah. And here I am to reconnect, and here I am to be at home. And you can't let like complexes of whether you feel authentically Haitian or whatever get in the way of that, because the fact is you're different. It's a fact.
C'est ça. Vous parlez bien. Oui, son belle parole. Oui, ou la bien, mais nous là. So, speaking of your art, you mentioned your art. I'd like to, since nous connaissons tout le monde là pour une petite performance et Talie, I'd like to share a first video from you. I know you did a cover of a song called Haïti Zantraille. We're going to play that song now, and then I'm going to ask you a couple of questions based on the song, because I'm curious about why you made the choice, and also curious to hear about your process, you know, as an artist. So we're going to play that first video now, Haïti Zantraille by Sidon Joseph.
Haïti, belle femme, ou marcher dans toute sam. Moi aimé un jour, moi vle fou, courage à crémer tambour. Quand sa petite Zantraille va chercher chimère la caille, pour nous savine chanter ensemble, Haïti chérie. Ou c'est maman misème, ou c'est reine qui joue nan kem. Haïti sous cabane l'hôpital, en bas relatif natal. Quand sa petite Zantraille va chercher chimère la caille, à toute force n'a va dire Haïti chérie. Cloche n'a gen pour sonner, lumière gen pour limer, sous grand chimé. Oiseau yo va chanter, abeille yo va voler, les belles fleurs yo va lever. La vie va sourire, les nan tout cœur l'amour blaye. À toute force n'a va dire Haïti chérie. Ay la 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 la. Oh Haïti, moi aimé oh chérie. La 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 la. Oh Haïti, moi aimé oh chérie. Cloche ta gen pour sonner, lumière gen pour limer, sous grand chimé. Oiseau yo va chanter, abeille yo va voler, les belles fleurs yo va lever. La vie va chouiller, les dans tout cœur l'amour blaye. À toute force n'a va dire Haïti maman chérie. La 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 la. Oh Haïti, moi aimé oh chérie. La 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 la. Oh Haïti.
Talie, franchement, franchement, your voice is just such a beautiful, just your voice alone is a beautiful vibe. It's a beautiful experience. Thank you for sharing that with us. I always talk to people about my experience visiting Haiti. Like every time I go to Haiti, it's like my body knows I'm home. I mean, in the song you hear, they say Haiti chérie ou c'est maman, ou bien they use the word mama at one point. And I feel like Haiti literally gave birth to me. Like when I go back, my skin clears up, like bagay e pomade, sa pomade du tout. Like here I have seasonal asthma. When I sa coupe sec. It's like when I go, tout bagay comme si vin ontijan pi droite pour moi. Can you tell us why you picked to cover this song and qui importance li gen pour comme artiste?
I love this song for a number of reasons. The first one being that it's pretty. That's that shallow. But Zantrai means like your innards, like your womb, your guts, and it talks about a day where things in Haiti will be better. And when that day comes, all the children that came from Haiti's Zantrai will come together and come back home and sing Haiti Chérie. And so there's a few things I love about this song. The one being that I love the tenderness that comes whenever artists are talking about Haiti in art. Like consistently, Haiti is spoken of as like a woman. First of all, it's Haiti Chérie, Haiti Mama, Haiti, and then like getting to the core of what I was saying before about like why we're scattered, at the end of the day, if Haiti was a place where people could be at peace and thrive, we wouldn't be scattered. We wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be on this panel with you right now, right? And so it's just something that's like, it's kind of a reminder, like we're working so that little girls in Haiti don't have to come here to be okay. I could be Talie in Haiti and that would be fine. It wouldn't be so difficult. Not that people aren't surviving in Haiti, of course, but conditions aren't what they should be. And like these songs like that remind me that. They remind me of the duty, and that's a lot of what I do when a lot of what I feel when I learn more about Haitian history, when I learn more about Sanit Bèlè, who literally died for her country, died and said, "You will not cover my face as you shoot me. I will look you in your face as you shoot me." Like the duty that leaves for me, like the responsibility on my shoulders, like this is the legacy, this is the spirit that is left to us as her descendants, and like we should know this history. Like, yep. Who our ancestors were. We have no business being complacent. We have no business being silent in the face of injustice. That's not our heritage. That's not our legacy. So, I mean, when I say like, how do I live Sanit Bèlè's legacy? I'm like, I don't know if I'm there. I'm a loudmouth on the internet who was like, hey, come be loud with me. But at the end of the day, I'm safe. I have a roof over my head, and I don't think anything I've posted will get me executed or jailed, or you know what I mean. But it just tells you the urgency of like, okay, there are things that are this way, because at the end of the day, everything comes back to me. Everything comes back to that people can't eat. Okay, yep. As long as people can't eat, there is no peace. Yep. So yep. As long as that is the situation, we can never be happy. We can never be okay with just being like, oh yeah, blah, 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 everything's great, that's why I'm very careful in the way I speak about Haiti, because we need to make sure we're not silencing any movement that's happening back home. If there's a movement saying we're not getting paid enough money and we're over here being like, no, it's actually great, it's beautiful, we're not doing our duty. We're not being in solidarity with people. We're not listening to our brothers and sisters back home. So this song here reminds us that the day everyone can eat, yep, we will go back home.
Yep, d'accord avec ça, net, Talie. This morning, c'est sous ça seulement m't'a réfléchi jodi a, because I had to, I was driving by the food pantry that's in my neighborhood. Et puis, te gen on ligne bien long, moun kap kampe yap tan manje. Mm-hmm. And girl, I just bought my groceries from Whole Foods the other day, and I feel like gen privilege nou genyen that we constantly have to acknowledge. And I, as much as I move in gratitude, I also move in like, wow, I was really lucky. Par exemple, te gen yon chance pou yo vin aux États-Unis, yo fè sa yo te kapab, et puis gade kote miye kounya. Mpa di m'rive, mpoko rive, parce que nou yon poko rive. Parce que gen moun, kom ou fèk di nou, there are people who still can't eat. Ki vle di pa gen nou yon ki rive. So I've been reflecting on that all day. Like, what does it mean to really create change and fight for creating change? Like, that is for me, I feel like when I wake up in the morning, I'm like, okay, this is another day that I can try to make something happen. Like another fight to be had, another thing to be said. And I think part of, I mean, you said this better than me, like, can we really be walking in Sanit's footsteps? Because she literally, like, she gave her life for her country. But what does it mean to give myself to the work that we do? What does it mean for us to remain um, loyal to Haiti? Because remaining loyal to Haiti means, like, also questioning ourselves, like our actual existence as diaspora. Bon, avant nous continuer, m'ta remè partager un l'autre vidéo avec Mounio, because you tease, I feel like you teased us a little bit with a cover, but now we actually get to hear a Talie Serin song. So we're gonna play the second video for y'all, the second performance from Talie from her amazing album called Soleil Midi, which translates to in English, Noon, Sun, Soleil Midi. And the name of this song is called Quai Posé. And after we play this song, I'm gonna let Talie talk to us about the meaning of the song, the title, and what was she offering us? Because this was an offering, Talie, franchement. What was she offering us with this song? So we're gonna go ahead and play the second video.
Petit, tout petit, toi petit même. Ma marché, côté m'poilé, pas fouti dit même. Tête chargée, tellement chargée, toi chargé même. Coquette, la baisse, toute femme, pas dormir même, pas tellement exigeant si tout allait qu'il est. Seulement voulait une réponse pour dire qu'elle a semé la game sous tête monde. Côté l'amour, la école, pour me caliber. Menez-moi côté la mer qu'à laver tous les mains. La game sous tête mon côté l'amour la école pour me calmer. Moi me danser sous tête nuage yo qu'elle pose ma joie. Oh 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 oh. Point coup de Kembe passé. Nous l'aide, nous la mêlette, pas de fête pour moi. Ban moi beauté, guérison, qu'elle moi besoin. Pas tellement exigeant, si tout allait qu'il est. Seulement v'lait une réponse pour dire qu'on route la haie. On monde pour dire chérie, joue pas l'arrivée. Oh maman pour moi clair. Sous tête monde, côté l'amour la école pour m'galiber. Menez-moi côté la mer qu'à laver tous les points. Ouh, la game sous tête monde, côté l'amour galibé. Moi v'lais danser sous tête niate yo. Qu'elle pose ma joie. Oui, oh, 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 I, oh, I, oh, 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 I. pardonne j'ai maman moi. Guéri maladie papa moi. Rendre justice pour frère moi. Qu'est compte pour ça moi. Et pour moi-même, tout ça m'a prié. Son tir qu'est posé.
Talie, ou pas ta fait nous ça? Ou pas ta fait nous ça, Talie? What a beautiful, beautiful song. Y'all know the song is good and the artist is good when it makes you feel like you can sing. Parce que chante and then you're like, wait, let me faire un petit poser because it's not et va même niveau bagay, comprendre? Bon, Talie, fais un petit parler avec nous. What was the inspiration for this song? And can you tell us what Ke Posé, pour moun ki pa pale Kreyòl, for those who don't speak Kreyòl, but are still vibing along with us, can you explain to people what does Ke Posé mean? Et puis, qui sa chante avle di pou?
Sure. So Ke Posé literally translated means calm heart. But I think the English equivalent is peace of mind. And so I like to think of all of my songs as prayers. And so this one is a prayer for myself, primarily, because I sing about myself and everyone and my family. And so the chorus says, Lagem sutet mon kote lamu blaikol. So it's like, take me to the top of the mountain where love has sprawled out, where love has made itself so at home that I will feel free. Take me to where the ocean can wash away my pain. I would like to dance on the clouds and find peace of mind. And in the bridge, I say, I'm asking to wipe the tears from my mother's eyes, to heal my father's sickness, justice for my brother, joy for my sisters. And for me, I just want a tiny drop of peace of mind. So I wrote this song because, from my perspective, as a Black woman, as a Black immigrant woman, as a millennial trying to make sense of the world, as just someone just trying to make sense of my world, and I just know that sometimes like my mind races at night, just like, what is going on, and sometimes I'm just like, I just want to feel some peace sometimes. There's this Bito Vaoba song called Ke Posé. He has a whole album called Ke Posé. And the title track, he goes, Ke Posé, m'kon ki bon poale, ale map gade, ate map leve, jou pa m'arive, Ke Posé. So he says, my heart is calm. I'm looking ahead. I'm getting up from the floor. My day has come. My heart is calm. And it was just one day I was just like, what the hell does that feel like? I was just like, I'm jealous. I want to feel like my day has arrived. And that was kind of my response in that song. I was like, I would like to hear one day someone say, baby, your day is here. And so in the song, in the verses, I tried, I was trying to be poetic here. I was trying to be deep. I say a lot of phrases that Haitians respond to the question, comment est? So Haitians have a lot of answers to how are you that are everything, but I'm doing good. So we'll say, moi là, which is just, I'm here. We'll say, piti piti, which is just, well, little by little. We'll say, Nap can't be. Let's say we're holding on. Nap can't be. So I was just taking all those things. I was just like, Haitians have so many responses to how are you, and none of them mean we're doing good. All of them imply that we're struggling to survive. We're holding on. We're here. It's going little by little, inch by inch. And so I have a certain sense of entitlement that is not very compatible with the Haitian culture I was raised in that I very much believe in complaining. I very much believe in whining. I tell every boss I ever have when I get a job, I'm like, if this is too much, you will hear my mouth. I am gonna complain. And so basically, this is me saying like, yeah, little by little, but too little. We're holding on, but maybe holding on is not enough. And there's this phrase where people say, "nous l'aide, nous la" in Haiti. It's like, we may be ugly, but we're here. And it's like, it implies a lot of strength. It implies a lot of resilience. And so I say, "nous l'aide, nous la, mais l'aide pas faite pour moi." And I'm like, we may be ugly, but we're here. But ugly was not made for me. I'm sorry. I don't want to be ugly. So that's what's going on in that song. It's just like just me saying, I want more from life. And sure, there are a lot of, I've been blessed with a lot. Sure, that's a fact. But things could be so much better. Things should be so much better, that there's this funny like TikTok that came out earlier this year with this guy who's pretending to be aliens who land on Earth for the first time.
Oh, yes.
And he's just like, oh, like he's asking Earth about this. He's like, I'm sorry, you also have world hunger in the 21st century? What's that about? Oh, because of logistics, you have enough food for everyone? It's just logistics? Is that, and like, it was funny, but like, it's correct, life just couldn't be better. Life should be better. And it's not because there are the powers that be and a minority of people who are like, we're going to hold on to this and let the rest of you be hungry. And so that's what I sing about. I'm like, that's crazy.
Là vraiment ou chita et puis ou commence réfléchir, you come to realize like, wow, bagay yo tête en bas, mais yo pas besoin tête en bas. Like,
son décision, c'est pas un accident, ok? Like, c'est pas un accident. Là, aller dans l'histoire d'Haïti, when you look at the efforts at nation building, because when like Haiti is a radical project, right? Haiti is enslaved people being like, we're not going to do this. We're ending this here. And they exist in a world, the context of a world where slavery was okay everywhere. White supremacy was like, this is the position of Africans in this world, and that's that. And Haitians said no. Not only did they say no, they said this cannot exist here, and it cannot exist anywhere else in the world, because so long as slavery exists anywhere else in the world, we can still be enslaved again. Now, when you look at our ancestors didn't set out to build a country that looked like our oppressors' countries, they set out to actually build a nation that would be fairer and would be where something like slavery could not live on. So when you think about all the attempts at really radical nation building, from the assassination of Jean-Jacques Dessalines, who was like, okay, we're now all free, everyone's gonna get land, everyone's gonna get resources, and they killed him. They killed him. When you think about even like someone like Christophe's Code, Dr. Marlene Doubt wrote this really great piece about how he had this code that would have workers own part of what they produce, not just be paid fairly. Like, it's like, if you're working on this plantation or you're working in this factory, you own part of this factory. And people at the time were like, nothing from a white man's imagination could come up with something this equitable. And he died so early, You think about these examples of nation building that were thwarted time and time again, that could have had Haiti be the radical project that it was supposed to be. And this makes you realize like the revolution isn't over. I was watching this panel over the weekend, and Dr. Wynnie Lamour from SOFA, she said, you can't call what's going on in Haiti a crisis, because this is the result of thwarted attempts at proper nation building. And what was the original question? Because I'm really on a tangent here.
I'm loving the tangent because I think that we forget that one, nous pas besoin accepter réalité yo ban nou an, you know, like yes, we live in certain situations, but actually there's a larger force at play that's responsible for where we are. So now when we get to a point where okay, kounya nou gen connaissance, like what's next? Like what actually is next as we revisit the original goal that our ancestors had, as you mentioned, of really radically shifting the lives and the realities, the actual mentalité moun yo, jan yo pense about the world. And as we revisit that, you realize, excuse me, from even the simplest things like I took urban planning classes in grad school. Even from simple things like one-way streets in certain neighborhoods, why they are one way, like why there are these like random, like why is this huge street a one-way street? It actually doesn't make sense as you're driving. And you realize like there were really actual concerted efforts to keep people of certain socioeconomic classes blocked into one space.
I was reading somewhere about the racist history of streetlights. Like I didn't even know like that we are colonized from the rooter to the tutor. Like we are so like it's wild. And so that's why I'm just like, that's why like I love art, because it's like Octavia Butler was always just like art is us making new worlds so we can see how we free ourselves, right? And so when I write music, like I'm writing about like I'm building, I'm dreaming, I'm thinking, I'm like I want to live somewhere where my mother does not cry, you know? And this is always at the basis of my songs, even though like I won't literally be like capitalism is, you know, I don't go that explicit in my, but like that's what's in the heart of what I'm writing. And maybe one day it will be that intense, because like Haitian folk music is very explicitly anti-capitalist and anti-imperialist, and that's the legacy I've learned from, and I'm trying to follow. And yeah, when I'm sorry.
I said I love it. I love it.
Yeah. So it's just always like, you know, that's what. Yeah. So that was the original question about why I wrote this song. You know, it's just. I look at this world, it makes no sense to me. And so I sing about that. And I sing about what could make me feel better and what could make us be better.
And speaking of songs, we have one more song that we want to share with everyone. And I want to remind folks that we are also live streaming on Facebook. So if you follow CLACS NYU on Facebook, you should share, let people know that we're talking to Talie and sharing her music with the world. And we're also monitoring the comments on the Facebook. So pour moun kap gade nou sur Facebook, si nou ta remè mande yon question, we're about to enter, after we watch the next video, we're about to enter the Q&A portion. So if you'd like to ask a question on Facebook, nou ka fè sa, we are watching it and we can respond from there as well. Bon, so we're gonna play the last link, and you know what? Kitem pa diyan, map diyan yon no? Map diyan yon. Map just kite moun yo gade, map just lage nan men moun yo, and then we'll see what people say. So we're gonna play the last video now, and we'll have a little chat about it right after. Thank you.
c'est ça la vie, t'as semblé ça me dit, oui qu'on lumière qui éclaire pour moi. Ça me lumière qui c'est pour moi. Et si qu'on force capé pour moi, si qu'on lumière qui c'est pour moi. Même no vidim, no alem, même no rivem, même no vidim, no alem, no rivem. Oh, oh, oh,
Oh, I think this was the one.
Okay. Talie, this song literally brings tears to my eyes. The first time I saw it, I was blown away. For those of you who don't know, this music video premiered just a few weeks ago, so it's super brand new. And Talie, we're so proud of you, franchement. Like, I can't say this enough. Toujours à répéter ça. We have to protect our artists at all costs. And I'm talking about all of the people who are creating, who are creators, who are building for us, who are world building, as you mentioned, as you quoted the amazing Octavia Butler. Art has saved me time and time and time and time again. And we are literally in the middle of a pandemic, and it's always in times of it's always in times of huge world events that our artists step up to the plate and they're like, all right, we got y'all. We got this. Anale. And you really with this song, Talie. Thank you so much for it. I can't say enough about the power behind this song, especially in the way that you use it as a way to honor those who have died from violence. And nous pas même bien assez temps pour parler sur ça, but I talk about violence taking shape in many ways, even in our day-to-day. And by the time it gets to be physical violence, li déjà allé trop loin. Yeah. So I appreciate you taking the time to honor those who have transitioned and crossed over. And I want to hear from you, the artist. What? I didn't even have a question. Just what? Why, Talie? Parce que ou même qui fait nous ça, why? Pour qui ça?
Thank you for receiving it, first of all. So this video was made by me and my sister. My sister, Luniz, goes by Tina as well. You know, us Haitians, we have a million names. So Tina is my sister. She's working on her MFA in film at Columbia. And I've always just been like, one day I'll make visuals for a song, but not today. And the pandemic really pushed that, because the pandemic really kind of ruined all my touring plans for my album. And so I had to think of different ways to engage people with my music, since I wasn't going to be touring. I'm not performing. We're doing quite well in terms of social distancing. We're A students. And so we're like, let's make a music video. Now, the song Lumière was one of those songs I wrote. It's like about faith. It's about wavering faith, you know, and about how like sometimes I'm so sure of it, I can hold it in my hand, and other days I just really can't tell if there is a light at the end of the tunnel for me, you know? But there are beautiful things in my life that make me think there must be some kind of force fighting in my favor, right? You know, like music and friendship and love and community. And so we wanted to explore ritual in this, because ritual and intentional ritual is how I keep faith alive in my life. So, you know, you see different things like my brother making us and serving us tea, my sister doing my hair, singing and making music with my friends. I have my friends in Haiti who shot in my mom's backyard that Bayfay. I had this like big memory from my childhood whenever I wasn't feeling well, where they would like boil this big old thing of you know, orange leaves, and pour it over my head. And I called my friends and I said, I want a bath scene in my video. Can you do that for me? Now, I wasn't considering how sacred baths are to people who are practicing Vodouism when I asked that. You know, I really was just pulling from this memory of me not feeling well when I was a kid and being given a bath. That's what I was thinking of. But Georgie, who is a, you know, devout practitioner, was like, I'm going to give you a scene, and it's going to have all the parts of the ritual that when I do this, you know? And so what ended up happening was I ended up having something that was like very much so Haitian in a way that, and so I had my rituals, and I had my friends' rituals. And, you know, near our house, there was that big Breonna Taylor mural. And another friend of mine who is a healer, and she had been going over and cleaning it up and laying down new flowers and, you know, praying. And so she had invited us to do that. And so we had done that a few times over the summer. And I was like, is it okay if I make that as part of it? So we put a lot of thought into it, because we were like, we don't want this to feel performative, but because it was something that we had been doing throughout the summer, going to the Breonna Taylor and Dominique Remy Fell's memorial and laying down flowers, because I wanted to talk about how we honor our dead. I wanted to talk about how we honor each other. I wanted to think about that. But we wanted to make sure that I'm really always really cautious that like I'm not in the States just singing Haitian music and not lifting up Haitian causes. That's something that's really important to me. And I mean, anyone who knows my work with Woy knows I do that. But you know, if you only know me through music, I need you to know that still. And so that's why it was important to us to put those names. Doris, who was the woman giving Georgie a bath in the who's giving a bath in the video, she had started an endeavor to start gathering the names of people who were dying from massacres over the summer, because there are so many massacres in Haiti this year. And what we've learned from human rights groups is that like there are political reasons behind these massacres, to quell dissent, to keep people terrorized, to keep them from being politically involved. And it's dire, you know, and that's what it's like I said, everything at the root of everything is that nous pas qu'à manger, you know, everything is a manger problem. So Doris had taken the initiative to start this list where she was gathering the names of people, and it's impossible to list all of them. It really is. And it's not even the completely updated list. And she wrote the piece, the quote in the end, she's like, "Map goume pou nou pa blio frère, pa blio sœur, non écrit en côté, puis fon goume pou nou bo justice." The week she wrote that, her and her friends did a sit-in in memory of 2 young dancers that had been killed earlier that month. And that sit-in was shot up by the police. They were literally ran into people's houses and hiding under beds from police bullets for doing a sit-in because 2 young people were killed. And there's no justice, there's no answers, nothing. And so like when I sit down from where I am here and I'm like, and I call my friends and they're telling me they spent the afternoon hiding under a stranger's bed because police were shooting at them. And I'm like, what, what could I possibly do? I'm literally here playing with my cat. I'm literally here watering my plants. And so me and Tina, we put a lot of care into this because we were just like, there's never been a time where the world isn't trying to kill us, right? What's that poem? Lucille, I can't remember, Clifton. And she's like, celebrate with me that every day something has tried to kill me and it hasn't worked yet. That was a really rough quote. I'm sorry. And that is really what I keep thinking about this year, how we have to hold each other to survive in a world this violent, you know, that the mutual aid efforts and going over to your friend's house, make sure, are you okay? Did you pay your bills this month? Do you have food? You know, are you sick? Let me give you a bath. And that's how we survive in a world that's trying to kill us. It's community, it's care, it's how we hold each other. And so that's what we were trying to do with this. And it's been true for generations, and hence the archival footage, right? The archival footage implies that we've been doing this for centuries. So we have a lot of old school footage from Philly and from Haiti, because those are my 2 homes. Those are 2 places that shaped me. And those are 2 communities that I've just been watching hold on to each other, care for each other in a world that forgets about us, because both of these places are neglected and marginalized. It's these both of my homes. And that's where the light is.
I love it, Talie. I love it. And what I don't even have the right words, but what I most love about the work that you do is you're not just intellectualizing just to intellectualize. Like you actually are trying to, and I think succeeding in many ways. You're trying to press people to actually look at themselves, examine how they move in the world, and examine the impact that their actions have, especially when it comes to Haiti, our Haiti chérie. So me, I have so many questions for you, but
oh my God, wait, thank you, Emily, in the chat. Come celebrate with me that every day something has tried to kill me and has failed. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
That's an excellent. It hits you right in your heart.
Oh yeah.
Just today, I was talking with my husband Ruben about how do you deal? We experienced some microaggressions at the hand of a white woman earlier today, and I was talking to him about well, how do I manage my emotions in those moments? But it's a lot, because it's a lot of little moments that add up to a lot of emotions inside of me. And et pas moi-même seule, c'est un pile l'autre monde cap souffri en bas même et shy ça. So
sure.
I think about that. You know, I think about every day, someone tries me every day. And I'm like, leave me alone.
Yeah. And you know, I know I've come to a different space about this, because my knee-jerk reaction once upon a time was to educate white people who came for me and just be like, this is why this was wrong and this is why. And I'm just I'm so past that, you know that. I think at this point for a lot of us as colonized people, or if we are still in a space where we're educating people, I think we need to pause and interrogate what we're spending our energy into, because we could be spending our energy in conversation with each other about what we're building and what we want to see, because the world we live in right now was someone else's imagination. It was someone else's imagining, and we did not get the chance to sit down. An imagination where we were the monsters, right?
Yep.
Everything that's been built has been dreamed. So I'm more interested in being in community with other people who are interested in building something new. as opposed to helping other people educate on why you shouldn't call me that or why you should, And so but like, I mean, it still gets the best of me sometimes. I'm just like, what? You're not gonna stop disrespecting me? Really? Because like at the end of the day, we're all going to work, we're all coming to class. Like you have to come to class, you're sitting in class, you're just trying to be a student, but you have to split learning between like convincing your professor why this was racist and why your student and your classmates, why this offended you, why this hurt you, why this harmed you. And you can't just be a student, you can't just be another colleague. You're like having this burden of educating as well as doing your work. And so I'm like trying to like shirk myself of this burden of educating. And I am doing a work of educating. Like I do like a lot of advocacy because I am first and foremost advocating to my brothers and sisters. Now, of course, I mean, a lot of white people love my music. A lot of white people love Woy, and I'm happy to have them. That's a happy accident because I am first and foremost in conversation with my community.
Same. I always tell folks that my work is primarily for Black and Brown people, and
I'm like, you brilliant Black and Brown person, take a look at your last 5 statuses. If there are dear white people statuses, please divert your energy. Black and Brown artists, if your art is centering white people, even if it's just centering them to curse them out, refocus your energy. Make your art for your younger siblings.
Ooh,
what do you want them to see? What do you want them to hear? Make their art for you. What did you need to hear? What did you need to see? Like, stop.
Yes, I think about that. I think about that all the time. I always tell folks that my work is primarily for Black and Brown people. That's not where it ends, but that's where it starts and will always be centered no matter what. So, Talie, it's really great. I love the work that you do, Talie. It's truly amazing. And
thank you so much.
It's very nurturing. Yes,
my goal is just to make something that like you can put on after a bad day. That was my goal with the album.
Your album sits right in my foyer. It's like the first thing you see when you walk in. It's like right in the bookshelves, and it's part of our good vibes. I always ask Black women this when I have them on stage. Talie, how can we support you directly? Because I like to get dollars in your pocket. How can we get you coins and support you direct? Okay, exactly. Talie, what do you request of us?
So you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Miss_Talie. That's MISS_TALIE. In the link in my bio, you will find where you can purchase my album. And then if you're interested in connecting with Woy Magazine was like me realizing that I don't know everything, So I wanted to make a platform where I could share other people's words who are way smarter than me. And we have voices from Haiti, and in the Haitian diaspora, we only publish Haitian people and people of Haitian descent. So it's called Haiti Through Our Voices. We have a Patreon. We're always, help support our work, because I don't want to be asking people for free labor, especially not people in Haiti. And if you support us there, you help me pay a cool Haitian artist to write an article, a cool Haitian organizer, because there are people on the ground, and baby, they are brave. They are so much braver than me. They are so much more brilliant than me, so much stronger than me. And this is a work that I'm trying to do from the diaspora to start that reconciliation process, and to challenge and invite other people of any diaspora, any immigrant community, to be in community with the people back home, and to take their heritage back, and to like dare to speak your native language, even if it's heavy on your tongue. Go back and learn it. Even like, the bitterness we have around our parents not teaching us Creole or not teaching us Spanish, you got to let it go. Your parents did the best they could with the tools they had, and now we can make the effort to do it ourselves. You take a class from Wynnie, you read some articles on Woy. We have it on both in English and Creole. You can have them side by side. And it's time for us to just make this intentional effort from ourselves and to form our own connections with Haiti outside of our parents' connections.
I think you said it all.
Yeah. So yeah, follow Woy Magazine. It's WOY Magazine, Woy Magazine we're on all platforms. We're on Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, woymagazine.com.
Merci ampil Talie. Talie, this was truly it was truly an honor for me. I've been talking about you are officially part of my curriculum at the Institute. Toujours appelé article et magazine avec élèves yo. I listen to your music all the time. It's part of our meditative start to class every week. And it's truly an honor to talk with you because I know the work that you do. C'est pas un travail qui facile, especially being a young, Black, hyphenated Haitian in the diaspora who's kind of like an academic, kind of a scholar, also an artist, doing all kinds of things in her own way. And I know you're actively paving your own path. And so I appreciate that. It's truly inspiring. So inspiration liée, pensée pour nous toutes. So thank you so much. And I'm going to end the way that I end all of my classes and workshops, which is by offering everybody honnête and respect. And I hope that you continue to walk with honnête respect in all that you do. I know it can be a challenge, but I also know that we accept that this is our responsibility as the great-great-grandchildren of some amazing people. Et puis tout m'a dit en créole pour nous tout ka comprendre. M'bralo fin nous tout honnête ak respect. M'souhaite n'a continuer marcher ak honnête respect dans tout ça nous fait. Nous connaissez pas un bagage qui facile. Même qu'on nous accepter ces responsabilités, nous comme petite, en monde qui te fait un gros coquin chen bagay dans 1804. So thank you all so much for joining us for the last installment of the Sanit Bèlè Women's Empowerment Series. Thank you, Talie, for joining us for this chat tonight. We truly appreciate your time. We truly appreciate your time. If you know someone who would benefit from listening to Talie talk about her amazing work, share the Facebook link, check out the NYU CLACS YouTube, follow Talie's work, put some coins in her pocket, y'all. We are anti-capitalist, but we out here still making money. We gotta eat. So if you are able to support with your time, your energy, or your money, please run to the artists in your lives because they are the ones keeping us afloat during this difficult time. Merci tout le monde qui était là avec nous dans Facebook. M'tap suivre nous, oui? M'tap suivre commentaire. So thank you so much. Thank you, Talie. Thank you to everyone here in the audience at Zoom. Thank you, CLACS. Thank you, MSI Lehman. And merci, Ampil. Okay, Tina coming through with the vet. Yes, that's why we c'est pour ça nous get frère accès. C'est pour ça moun get famille. Talie's Venmo, so that this is forever immortalized on Facebook Live, is at Talie Music, TALIEMUCSSIC, Talie Music. Bon bagay. Merci tout le monde. On est respect à nous toutes et puis à nous continuer la bataille là. Thank you, Talie.